Hey guys. So this is just going to be a rant type video. Um Kind of been thinking about this a lot recently with the whole grooming gang inquiry that's been put out. It's quite a long document, has quite a lot of horrific things in it. Um but the one thing that I guess has been bothering me is like how long it took for people to know about this. I have known about this since 2016, and I'm sure you have probably known about it for a similar amount of time if you're watching this video. And I just kind of wanted to use this time to, I guess, talk about the struggles of this type of thing. Not necessarily the grooming gang thing. Plenty of people have covered that for sure, but it's just this like constant cycle of knowing things because you pay attention and you read and you're, actually seeing what's going on around you in a real sense and you'd have blinders on. And then it takes everyone else like years to figure out what you've already known. This is it's a common cycle for, I feel like, a lot of people on the right in general at this point. The COVID stuff is like the perfect example. Just recently, we had everything confirmed that we already knew, really, about COVID. We already knew Fauci was involved with the testing they were doing in Wuhan and that it probably escaped from a lab. And they've been, saying that it probably escaped from a lab now for a while, but we already knew everything else too. Like, none of this is really shocking. We'd already made the connections, we'd already, like, known a lot of this. And it is just frustrating to deal with that over and over again. Like, yeah, I already know that. And it makes you sound like an asshole to say that. It makes you sound like condescending because, people are busy in their lives. I get it. Everyone's busy. Not everyone has time to pay attention to every single thing going on in Britain or whatever. But it is very disheartening, I guess, to just kind of constantly have to do this exact thing over and over again, year after year, of like, yeah, I already told you about this like 5 years ago. I already said this 5 years ago. We already knew this 5 years ago. When someone who's more, mainstream or maybe just more like CBS inclined, we'll call them, has to come talk to you about the grooming gangs or whatever, because they're like, oh my God, you hear about this? It's like, yeah, I've heard about this and I heard about it like 10 years ago. And nothing was done about it, and nothing is still really being done about it, but everyone is now just finding out about it. And like I said, it is hard to blame people for just not knowing things, but it just grinds on the individual, I think, to just have all of this knowledge, know this stuff is going on for years, and watch no one do anything about it. That's what's tiring. That's what's like, it just eats away at you. So, I guess I just want to talk about, I guess, that feeling. So I want to try and focus in on like what that is, because it's not like it's a hard feeling to explain. I feel like it's like it's like dramatic suspense, I guess. You can see the bomb under the table, no one else sees. It's like the classic Hitchcock thing, right? You know what's coming and no one else does. The people in the scene don't know, but you do. And that is just, when it's in real life, it's not as fun. When it's in a movie, it's fun to be like, "Oh my God, the guy has no idea that bomb's about to blow up or something." That's fun. In real life, it's not fun. In real life, it's like a mental burden. In real life, it is frustrating to constantly, when it's actually happening, to be told you're wrong or like a conspiracy theorist or whatever. And then for, 5 years later down the road, everyone has to go, "Oh, okay. You were right about that." And I just don't know how to deal with this on a personal level, but I'm trying to work it out. It kind of is just something you have to deal with, just knowing things. Cause like, what are you gonna do? You could bury your head in the sand, but why would you do that? Like, it's almost hard to stop looking once you've seen it. Once you like start noticing things and you start paying attention, really, it's hard to just pull yourself away from that because you don't really want to. Because it's like, well, I actually do know things before most people do, and I'm more correct about things than most people are. So it's just like, why would I pull away from that knowledge? Why would I stop paying attention? Just because I don't know, it's better for my brain. I guess it is. You don't feel such a burden. You maybe don't feel so sad anymore if you don't pay attention to this kind of stuff or whatever. It's not as depressing to just be, time to go consume the next Marvel product or whatever it is a lot of people do. I don't really know, but whatever it is, however people entertain themselves when they're not paying attention to what's actually going on in the world, it's definitely easier to unplug. And I don't think there's any like shame in that. It's fine to unplug if you're that kind of person. But for people like me who really can't help themselves but pay attention, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience as well feel this way, um it is like it feels so annoying when this happens. When people now are coming to me, "Hey, did you hear about this rape gang thing?" "Yeah, I heard about that." "Did you hear about, the COVID vaccine thing?" "Yeah, I heard about that. I've known about that. You called me crazy for saying that, or for the grooming gangs, you called me racist for saying that." Uh, or like the AI thing. You said I was stupid for saying AI was going to be like a big deal, and now it is a big deal, and now you're telling me, "Hey, this AI thing's kind of a big deal." It's like, "Yeah, I knew that. I knew that way before you knew that." It is just like, and it wouldn't help if they were like, "Oh my god, you're so smart." Like, that's not the issue. It's not like a ego like, "Oh, you're so smart. I should have just like blah blah blah, whatever. You're the best. You're the smartest." It's not that. It's just like a general frustration with just seeing things are going to happen, watching them happen, and then people being like, "Oh my god, who could have believed that was going to happen?" It's like me. I could have believed that was going to happen because I already said this. I've said this for years now. I've been saying this for years now, that this is an issue, that this is a problem. And I think really at the end of the day, the best way to deal with this sort of thing is just to like, you kind of got to go hands off a little bit. You can't care about everything all at once, all of the time. You have to learn to laugh at things. You have to learn to just like let things go. And then when, the iron is hot, like it is right now with this grooming gang inquiry, that's when we get our chance to strike. That's when we get our chance to actually change things, actually make a difference, for people who are just, you know, regular people and not the police who are looking into this, or I don't know, a scientist or doctor during COVID or whatever. People who can make a difference in the moment should obviously be doing that. But the public can only really make a difference when the tide starts to swing in that direction, when powerful people start to actually make a deal of what's going on or whatever. Something calls attention to the issue. Um, and uh, it's just tiring. And I really don't want it to come off like, oh, I'm so smart. I mean, there's plenty of things I didn't know. Like, for example, when COVID started originally in China, I was watching stuff about it, and yeah, it looked crazy, but I was young when it started, and I was kind of just like, I don't think it's going to spread over here. Like, it was just a foreign concept to me that obviously I know diseases can spread and that plagues have happened in the past or whatever, but I didn't think that it would like get to that point. I guess I thought it would be like, H1N1 or whatever, however many different like things were around when I was a kid and they didn't really do anything. I thought it would be like that. So like I didn't call COVID, and that just is how it is. So I'm not saying I'm like right about everything or I like predict everything. I'm like some oracle or whatever. That's not my point. My point is just like it is frustrating to know things and tell people things about what's going on in the world, and then 5 years later they have to admit you're right, and it's like usually too late. Like how many people got, I guess, I don't know how to put this a YouTube friendly way, how many people got hurt by these grooming gangs since I first heard about them? You know, since we knew about them, how many people have gotten hurt? How many more people had to suffer because they didn't do anything about it, even though we've known about it for so long? It is just frustrating to think about that fact. It's a lot, I guess. And it's as I said before, you just can't worry about it too much. You just got to go hands off a little bit and just, it is what it is at a certain point. We can't do anything about it, so what's the point in worrying about it? I understand that. I get that. Kind of just wanted to use this as a place to go off and express my feelings about this subject because I've just been thinking about it with this grooming gang inquiry. I really hope something is done about it this time. Obviously, I don't know if anything will actually be done about it or not. Uh, Such is the way of politics in general. You just never know if they're actually going to do something or if it's going to be another nothing burger where more people have to suffer. I'm assuming it's going to be that. I don't think a lot will be done to actually solve the issue, sadly. I really hope I'm wrong about that, but it is what it is. And you kind of just got to learn to live like that, I guess, to just kind of go with the flow and just know to wait. It'll probably come to light to the masses soon enough. Maybe not soon enough, but eventually people will start to talk about it. And if they don't, that's just something you got to deal with as well. You know, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things about like paying attention to stuff like this. You're going to know about things before most people do. And because of that, you're going to have to get used to that sort of suspense, this constant suspense, and then the frustration when people come to you like, oh, wasn't that shocking? And it's just like, no, it wasn't shocking. Nothing about what was in that document shocked me, which is sad to say because of how much was in there and how shocking it was. But it wasn't beyond the pale of what I expected from this after hearing so many stories about it and after hearing victims talk about it for years. It is just like, I wish we would have done something about this sooner, man. That's all. I wish people would have listened to people like me who were talking about this in Britain years ago. I wish less of these girls had to suffer. I wish we could have done something sooner, and I hope that we do something now that it is a big story. I guess the only way to really deal with this sort of thing is to just slow down your thinking a little bit. Don't let it, really bum you out too much, and just kind of be happy that it eventually came to light this time. Because there has been things in the past where, we talk about them and they're true. They're definitely true. but it just never comes to light. Like, no one, it's not picked up in the mainstream press. It's not talked about in any like real way. That kind of stuff happens all the time too. So just be happy that it actually did get picked up this time. And even though you knew about it, and even though you wanted something done about it this whole time, at least you're vindicated now. You know, at least hopefully something will be done now that everyone sees what you've been seeing for years. So, just let me know what you think about it in the comments. Uh Make sure to subscribe if you want to, like this if you want to. Argue with me in the comments if you want to. Call me like a, I don't know what you'd call me for this one. Like an oracle or something. A false oracle if you're trying to insult me. I don't know. Egotistical maniac, I'm not sure. I really don't think, like I said, it's really not about like a I was right and I'm freaking the best or whatever. It's literally just like a frustration with situations where you are correct and you have been for years. And it's literally been like open to everyone. Everyone could have been correct about this issue. But then, suddenly no one else is paying attention except for a few. So that's it. That's all I had to say. Just a little rant video. Hope this was, I guess, cathartic for some of you. Or, like I said, just insult me in the comments if that's what you want to do. That's fine. Okay. Thank you for watching.